Hello YouTube, Miller Corner here and welcome to the very first episode of a brand new series for the channel. This is car news. That's right, I talked about it in my 2018 plans video and it's finally coming to fruition. I'm actually going to be doing a feature every so often when there's something particularly interesting comes up in the world of automotive news and cars in general that I think would be interesting to talk about. So today we've got 3 stories that have happened in car news in the last week or so which I think would be particularly potent to talk about, and I've certainly got some opinions on them. And the very first one I want to talk about is the death of a current generation hero, because the current shape F80 BMW M3 is going to be killed off. That's right, there will be no more M3 as of August this year. It's not quite as bad as it sounds though, but it's certainly bad for those of you that are a fan of the current 3-litre twin-turbo model. The Worldwide Harmonised Light Vehicle Test Procedure, or WLTP as it's also known, are kind of a worldwide emissions and pollution tester for cars. Yep, it's the people that are making cars gradually more difficult to be fun. They tested the current shape M3 and found that it just pollutes too much as per their very strict emissions tests. They concluded therefore that it was going to need a carbon particulate filter in its catalytic converter to pass these tests, basically so it wasn't emitting too much under their extremely strict regulations. Putting a particulate filter into a cat is an extremely time-consuming measure to kind of manufacture, to design, engineer, and obviously it's very costly. But the current shape 3 series is going to be phased out in October when an all-new one is going to be released, so there really is no point entirely re-engineering and redesigning the exhaust system for the current M3 when it's going to be out of date in just a few months' time. So BMW have decided to kill 2 birds with 1 stone here. The old shape M3 was due to go in October anyway. They're going to be killing it early. That's right, the current F80 M3 will be off sale in August. However, you will be able to still go and buy an M4, because the M4 is based on the 4 series, which has been around a little bit later, a little bit less time than the current shape 3 series, so it's going to be around until at least mid 2019. So BMW have decided it is going to be worthwhile to make the particulate filter in the exhaust system for the M4, which has of course the exact same 3-litre twin-turbo straight 6 that the M3 does. The M4 will be going off sale for a few months later this year according to a BMW spokesperson, but then the M4 will be back with the particulate filter on, and it will be on sale until mid 2019 when the current shape 4 series will most likely be replaced. This whole issue with the WLTP kind of saying no, it's a very low emission car considering the performance it makes. In fact, it makes less than 200 grams per kilometre of CO2, but we're still not going to let you have it because we think it pollutes a little bit too much, and this kind of thing I really don't approve of. I don't think that manufacturers of fun, interesting and exciting cars like the M3 should be kind of told off for making a car too interesting and too exciting. Like the Porsche 718, the Cayman and the Boxster, they've had to go down to turbocharged 4 cylinders instead of the beautiful old 6 because the old 6 cylinders just polluted too much, in the words of the world's emission testers. There is one crumb of comfort though, that if you do want a twin turbo extremely fast 6-cylinder super saloon for around that kind of size and price, the Alfa Romeo Giulia Quadrifoglio, which I highly rate, is still on sale. So if you're in the market for an M3, just go and get a Giulia instead. Much lower down the performance ladder, the Toyota Prius has even been affected by emissions testing. It used to be able to be free to be driven in London's congestion charge zones, which are normally allowed for anything low emission or zero emission, so hybrid or electric. And there's a threshold on this of 75 grams per kilometre of CO2 emitted. And until recently, the Prius was within that at 70 grams per kilometre of CO2. So you could drive into London in the congestion charge zone in a Prius and you'd be absolutely fine. You wouldn't have to pay for it. However, the WLTP that we've previously mentioned slaughtered the M3 have also said that the Prius in its new February 2017 revised version, that now emits too much as well, because the version on 15-inch wheels, bizarrely, has gone up from 70 grams per kilometre to 78 grams per kilometre, which of course exceeds that 75 threshold. One of arguably the most eco-friendly cars on sale today is not eco enough, and it now means that the Prius is going to be costly to drive into London, the same as any car. You might be on electric power for the whole time, and given how slow you drive in London, you probably will be, but you'll still have to pay the congestion charge, which seems stupid to me. As the WLTP test kind of tightens down and becomes even more strict, and this is becoming the new standard for emissions in cars, that means that even cars that hardly pollute anything at all, like the Prius, are now being clamped down on. Now obviously this isn't quite such a big deal as far as petrol heads are concerned, but it is a big deal for Toyota and a big deal for a certain sector of drivers in the UK. One of the main reasons that taxi drivers in London have switched to Toyota Priuses and Auruses in hybrid form is because you don't have to pay a congestion charge for them. Well, now you do, are they going to lose their popularity? Are we not going to see Priuses used as taxis anymore? And of course, if they lose that crucial taxi market, Toyota could be in for some big losses in the UK at this point. It seems like if you're a taxi driver in London at the moment, you might actually have to look at buying an electric car instead. Which brings me on very nicely to the main car news of the week. Everyone's been talking about it. There has been a Tesla launched into space. You heard that correctly. Yep, Elon Musk, the genius behind Tesla and behind SpaceX, yep, there's a connection coming here. He launched his personal Tesla Roadster into space. It was inside the nose cone of a SpaceX rocket, and they added a few little Easter eggs to go with the car as well. There was a dummy dressed up like a spaceman who they called Starman, who's sitting behind the wheel in the Tesla. There's David Bowie's Space Oddity playing on the stereo on repeat, and there's the words "Don't Panic" from Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy printed on the car. I absolutely love it, but more to the point, there's a car in space. It's absolutely unbelievable, and in fact, as I record this now, the Tesla is in space and it has achieved a perfect orbit around the Sun and Mars. It's extremely unlikely it's going to crash. Because of its trajectory, it might well just orbit forever. However, the SpaceX launching the Tesla into space was nowhere near as expensive as you might imagine. To give you an idea, a comparable NASA flight with the typical wastage that happens, the rocket boosters coming off and things like that, costs around $1 billion per flight. By comparison, the SpaceX Tesla project cost $90 million. When you look at a typical NASA rocket getting launched, there's all kinds of things flying off and breaking off and getting destroyed, and obviously that's all just money going up in smoke. The whole point behind this SpaceX flight was to recycle and reuse as much as they possibly could. The two rocket boosters come off of the craft as they normally do, but then using two small thrusters on the side of them, they were then gently lowered back down to Earth. Now, one of them did slightly get damaged, but the other one was completely reusable. That's a large chunk of expense and a large chunk of effort and money totally saved by reusing something that NASA just kicked to the ground like an old drinks can. SpaceX have demonstrated some incredible achievement and ridiculous intelligence here, and it's great to see that even after the Earth has long gone in millions of years' time, there will still be some memory of cars. There's still one little Tesla Roadster floating around up there with the following words printed on a circuit board underneath the dash: made on Earth by humans. Some memory that perhaps one of the greatest inventions mankind ever had was the car, and there will always hopefully be that one little memory of it in space. This was a completely pointless space mission. There's no need for it to be done, and there's certainly no one asking for a Tesla to end up on Mars, but we did it to show we could. 50 years ago, the idea of anyone going into space was still a relatively fresh and new thought, and now look at us. We're sending cars into space just for fun, and I think that is just showing how brilliant humanity can be, just doing what we can and demonstrating how brilliant we can be. SpaceX, Elon Musk, you guys are amazing, and a massive congratulations from me and on behalf of the entire Petrolhead community. So that brings to an end the very first episode of Car News. I really hope you enjoyed it, everybody, but do let me know in the comments below if you want to see more videos like this, a quick little recap and my thoughts on recent car news that's occurred. Now, I do realise that this first episode has been largely to do with emissions and pollutions and all that kind of stuff. That's not going to be a running theme, I promise you. If you do want to see more episodes, let me know. This won't necessarily be a regular feature, but it'll be as regular as the exciting news is. For now, thanks for watching, everybody. If you did like this video, give it a big old thumbs up, and also subscribe and hit the bell icon so that you are notified when a new Miller Corner video is released. But for now, thanks for watching, everybody, and have a brilliant rest of your day. See you soon, and have a good one.